To start Matlab from a university machine, go to the Start menu, select Programs, and it will be in Programming under Matlab. And then click on this and it will start it. I've already started a copy as it takes a few seconds to load the first time. And when Matlab loads up, it will look something like this. It might not look exactly like this because I've got a few more M files than you have, but we can come to that later. So this is the standard Matlab interface. It's got a number of windows. The most important one for us to start with is the command window. You won't get this warning, by the way. That's because I've done something bad at some previous point. So the command window is the most important one for us at the moment. In the command window, we basically enter all our commands. This is where we'll start in part 1. So for instance, I can say A equals 10, and it will put in a variable at A equals 10. I can put B equals 5567, say, and we can have that. I can then multiply B times 3. We get that. So in the command window, you can enter things as if it was a calculator, a very extended calculator. And in part 1, I'll go through various ways and means of using that. Now, you may have noticed some of the other windows changing as we go through. We won't actually use these windows. They're kind of more for more advanced topics. We won't use most of these windows, but I'll just describe them now. That's the command history. You can see basically simply just records the commands that I've done. So I started off with A equals 10, then B equals 567, then B times 3. So I can, if I highlight one and press return, it will just redo that command. I can also highlight several or a block of commands and redo them. And so it's quite useful. It's quite useful if you were doing something yesterday. So this was the last time that I was working on it. These are all the commands that I did, and so I can go back and find them and redo them. Okay, so that's the command history. I don't use that all that much. This is the current directory. This just tells you what's in the current directory. This is the workspace. Again, I don't tend to use this. Some people do. The workspace will tell you what variables you've got. So I've got a variable called A, which has a value of 10. I've got a variable called B, 567, and I always have a variable ants. Now, ants is just the answer to the last thing I told it to do. So I told it previously to find out what B times 3 was, and that gave me an answer of 1701. So if I told it to find out what A plus 909 was, the answer would be 919, and you can see that my ants here has changed to 919. Okay, so we won't deal with these windows very much. The window we will deal with in part 2 is the editor window, and I'm not sure if this one comes up for you in default. The editor window is where we edit our M files from. What I'm going to do, I'm going to close this down for now because we can come to it in part 2. So if I close this, you should, I think that your window will probably start off looking a bit like this. Obviously within the windows we can always get these things back up. You can have various desktops and save them and save your layout and have various layouts that you like. You can tab them, you can minimize them. So you can drag these windows around however you want so that they can be tabbed. I could have it like that, or I could try and get that back. So you can move it to however you want, really. I'm going to just go back to the default for now. And then, as I said, so if for instance, I want to get the a window back up, we'll come to that again. The other thing that one can do with any of these windows is to dock and undock them. It's just using this. I think I may have gone out of the screen. So it's just using these arrows here, here, and here. So for instance, if I want to undock the command history, it comes out and it will float on its own, and I can dock it again like that. That's most useful for figures. So for instance, if I was to plot to 100 by sine of 1 to 100. Don't worry about too much what I'm doing here. Then this will generate a hanging figure at the moment. Now it's best to sort of dock your figures because then you can see them as they go and they don't appear behind the windows. So what I'd normally do is I'd dock it there and it will appear somewhere. This is the figure window. So normally you'd have the figure window docked somewhere, but you can undock the whole window so that the figures hang themselves, or you can dock it there. Okay, so that's getting started with Matlab, and we shall come to more of the advanced features later. One thing I should say, so as I said, we'll be working in the command window here. You can copy and paste from here into the command window. So for instance, I could take these windows, and if I do Control C, I've copied it, and then I can paste it in with Control V, and it should tell me it'll do the command for me. Finally, the up arrow is your friend, as I tell people. What the up arrow does, if I press the up cursor, it will cycle through all the commands I've previously done. This could be quite useful for when you're running through the things. We'll do several commands that will be similar to one another. The other thing is, if you start off a line, it will bring back all the things that started with that line. So for instance, if I knew, say yesterday I specified X to be something, that doesn't work, or I specified A to be something, it will come back up with all the lines that started with A. Okay, so that's enough to get started with. So if you go back to the course, have a look through the support, and you should have enough to get started with part 1.